Digital Chaos versus VGJ.Storm. DC with a 1-0 lead, and we get right on into this draft. We take a look. VGJ.Storm, they banned out the Tiny, Beastmaster, and Bane. DC, they ban out the Winter Wyvern, Wisp, and Omni Knight. That Bane looking like a little bit of a respect ban for Demon, as he's played it a couple of times throughout this qualifier. And then, of course, you've got that Phase 1 Tiny ban and Beastmaster, a very strong hero as well in that offlane. And first pick is Night Stalker for VGJ.Storm.
Yep, you see this game, they DC let in Slaughter and Earth Spirit, which I think they banned the game on. So perhaps looking to take one for themselves, or perhaps looking to change things up a little bit, because this time they ban the Omni Knight and VGJ.Storm bans takes Bane out of the pool, so Demon won't have that this game.
Yeah, Demon very good on that Bane. A very good position, 5-player, and now we see him on the Shadow Demon, or I would assume he's going to be on the Shadow Demon, and they also pick up the Slardar. I think this is setting up, and I know I say it every time you've kind of got that kind of catch, but I think this is kind of setting up for a Mirana game from the side of DC.
10 seconds.
You always bring up that Mirana. I mean, arrow setups are obviously very good, but I think what DC are actually looking for with this opener is, first of all, it's really versatile, right? They have the catch, they have the defensive, sort of pseudo-defensive support from Shadow Demon, and actually what it gives them the most is it gives them a support duo that can actually set up their own kills, right? You open with the Disruption, and then you follow it up with the Slaughter, Slaughter stun, so it gives DC actual kill potential in the early game.
I still hope for Mirana. But yeah, you are right.
Hope.
Disrupt, especially, and this is gonna be a 4-position Slardar, right? I feel like Slardar, he has shown himself in the 3 position for a couple teams, but like it doesn't really go well with Slardar in that 3 spot. I feel like.
Yeah, Slaughter offlane, he doesn't so when I think of offlaners, I think of heroes that like plant themselves in the lane, and then they're actually capable of either bullying their opponent or applying pressure. And Slaughter's not a hero that applies pressure in a lane by himself, relative to other offlaners, and so I think his Slaughter's role is definitely better as a support, especially with the new sprint mechanics and with the new bounty rune mechanics. You see a lot of Slaughters, instead of constantly going for kills or pressuring lanes, they're just running around the map, collecting bounty runes and picking up their blink at an earlier time. Speaking of Mirana, by the way, banned out from VGJ.Storm.
5 seconds remaining.
Come on, VGJ.Storm.
Mirana's obviously a very good hero, right? So
Yeah.
Maybe you should be impressed with your foresight ability.
It's sometimes like really good all of a sudden, like but I mean sometimes it's super obvious.
I mean she's a very good hero by herself, and then you combine that with the setup from Shadow Demon and Slaughter, and then also amplify damage kind of solves her damage issues in the early game. So would have been a very good pickup from VGJ.Storm. And DC, they ban out the Deuce again. Deuce is actually Deuce is a super strong hero when you don't have counters to her, and that sounds dumb, right? But like Deuce is like a hero that's extremely hard to deal with if you don't draft around it. And then like if the enemy team picks like a second phase Deuce or a last phase Deuce, then sometimes you can be in a lot of trouble, because the way that she got reworked this patch is I think her early game is better, because at level 10 and 15 she has an attack speed and then a damage talent, and that really helps her scale into the late game a lot better than she was before.
So then DC ban out the Terrorblade. I feel like Medusa and Terrorblade, maybe there's a little bit of uncertainty from DC after last game, where they did pull ahead very easily, but they had that one team fight that caused a little bit of doubt in my eyes from DC. And Medusa and Terrorblade are 2 of those heroes that even down 7, 8, 10,000 net worth can still bring a game back. And I think with that uncertainty from DC, they ban out those 2 heroes that have that kind of heavy duty comeback potential.
Yeah, I mean it's a little bit of uncertainty, but it's also, I think those 2 team fights that DC lost were more one of two things. Obviously, VGJ.Storm, they were intentionally baiting themselves there, and they positioned themselves really well, and they probably planned out the team fight in every step, right? Like Snaking, someone gets initiated on, and then the Global Silence comes out, and then Snaking positions himself for a really nice Ravage. And then I think DC's counter to that last game would have been to scout everything out with Bulba, with Night Stalker, and then go for the initiation there. But I definitely felt those two team fights, right? DC kind of jumped the gun. They weren't fully aware of the situation before they started the fight.
Mm-hmm. So you've got Puck, you've got Night Stalker. I mean, this is DC draft so far. Obviously, you can't get the Bane. But are they trying to run something similar to what DC ran last game? And would a lineup similar to that work against what DC have right now in Luna, Slardar, and Shadow Demon? And
It's hard to say so far. I feel like that Disruptor pick definitely doesn't help them too much this game. I think what DC are going for, what any team is going for when they pick that Luna is she excels in two things. First of all, her laning phase is excellent if you set it up well. Because of that Lunar Blessing, you know, you're able to trade hits a lot more effectively than the enemy team, so that makes her sort of a strong tri-laner, strong dual laner. And then I think she's one of the strongest carries in the mid game because of that Eclipse. You know, her team fight's super strong. Her tower push, her ability to help her team push towers is super strong, and then her ability to farm and push out waves is also very good. So Luna's like very strong from the early game to the mid game, and I think DC, their two supports kind of reflect that right now. You know, you have the Shadow Demon Slardar, lots of kill potential in the early game, and then you have that Slardar to help set up team fights, and then the amplify damage to help them take Roshan and try to close out the game.
Sand King getting picked up here, so Sand King and Slardar are both on the same team. Like I said, I do prefer Sand King, I would say, over a Slardar going in that 3 position. Just, I see it work out better when a Slardar is a 4 spot rather than a 3 spot. And if that's what it is, DC looking like safe lane Luna, off lane Sand King 4-5, Slardar Shadow Demon, and a lot of catch, a lot of lockdown for the side of DC.
For a lot of catch, they also have the Shadow Demon Luna combination. So you know when they're pushing towers, the Luna can be confident frontlining for her team because you know she's got a Slardar and Sand King waiting to counter initiate, and then the disruption to save her from any initial burst or VGJ.Storm. And I think the Sand King pick was also sort of recognizing that VGJ.Storm's laning phase is seemingly really weak right now. I mean, Night Stalker and Disruptor aren't the best supports at zoning out offlaners or fighting early game engagements in general. Sure, you have those 2 level 1 nukes, but you know there's no stuns between the 2 of them, and they're also not the best heroes for trading hits early on.
Morphling picked up, and this is going to be the first Morphling game I see in competitive play since the change. And you did bring up Lockdown. VGJ.Storm, besides, you know, Dream Coil and getting a glimpse cage on someone, it seems like DC are going to be kind of free to walk around in these fights.
Yep. I mean, the VGJ.Storm, they're really reliant on that kinetic field for Lockdown right now. I'm actually very curious where this Morphling's going and who's going to be playing it, because Morphling is a lot different than he was before. I think the biggest difference is you can't split push on that hero as effectively because you obviously don't have that replicate to get yourself out anymore, or it doesn't work the same way. So I think VGJ.Storm have something planned for this Morphling.
Morphling, Disruptor, Puck, and Night Stalker. Is Morphling still your safe laner, or is he going to be going in the off lane, or could he be going mid and Puck goes in the off lane?
I'm really curious because I actually don't know. I don't know what kind of hero Morphling is right now. I feel like he's not. I want to say he's not as good in the carry position because he can't split push anymore. So it could be an offlane Morphling, but we'll have to see.
Going to be very interesting to see where they put that Morphling and how they round out this lineup. Batrider banned by DC, so maybe they're expecting Morphling to be in that safe lane. Not giving up an offlaner, and banning out Viper is VGJ.Storm, as they do need a mid of their own. And, you know, Invoker's still available over mid. A couple of big-time heroes. Quap is still there. Anything in particular you see for DC in terms of a mid hero that they might pick up last?
I think DC is going to wait and try to counterpick this last pick from VGJ.Storm.
And it is Brew who is usually in that off lane.
So I think DC should pick something that helps them push.
Choose your hero.
That hero definitely helps them push. And it also kind of helps them against the Brewmaster as well. That silence, obviously a very good follow-up to any initiation from DC, should allow them to easily take out the Puck and Brewmaster within a single silence. So VGJ.Storm, they have Ritsu on the Morphling.
So it is gonna
I'm willing to bet that DC are going to try and put an aggressive lane against the Morphling, an aggressive tri-lane, because VGJ.Storm's early laning phase looks terrible right now with Morphling, Disruptor, Night Stalker.
And it's Ryoya on the Brewmaster, so is it mid-brew off-lane Puck with Sneaking on it, or are they just swapping it up?
I
10 seconds.
think they're going to keep it like this. I mean, Brew's not super weak against Death Prophet.
Remaining.
Maybe not the best hero, but that Drunken Haze pretty much makes you able to lane against a lot of heroes.
Going to be very interesting coming into this game 2 with Morphling in it. DC, they've got Death Prophet, Sand King, Luna, Swardar, Shadow Demon. VGJ.Storm this time around, Brewmaster, Morphling, Disruptor, Puck, Night Stalker. To me, I do think DC's draft looks a lot better with the lockdown they have, the survivability on the Death Prophet with the Spirit Siphons, the silence that's going to be thrown out, the push power they're going to have with Exorcism, and the Luna. I just see DC far ahead in this draft, but we'll have to see if, I guess, counter to my opinion, if VGJ.Storm can turn this one out and go force a game 3.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I mean, DC's path to victory is definitely a lot easier than VGJ.Storm's. You know, as long as DC come out in the laning phase, they can continue to kind of roll over all of the towers from VGJ.Storm. VGJ.Storm, the only way they spam out towers is with Puck right now, so... And DC, if they win the laning phase, I think they might be able to get a substantial lead by the 20-minute mark. Whereas VGJ.Storm, their only win condition is if Ritsu gets super farmed on this Morphling. And so they're kind of playing against the timing of DC right now. VGJ.Storm have to somehow put themselves in a position to defend their towers, with or without Ritsu. And I think that comes down to the Brewmaster getting quite farmed, so perhaps picking up a Blink. Same with the Blink on Puck. Because until they have those Blinks, VGJ.Storm can't properly initiate against the DC lineup.
And DC have this early aggression possibilities where do you think, since they don't really have to worry about the Morphling too early, and you said it's kind of reliant on Brewmaster having an early game, do you think they just harass him with the Shadow Demon, Swardar, and try and get some pickoffs? If he's going to be in that off lane, he's up against the Luna, so that's Disruption, Slithering Crush, and Lucent Beam coming through to, lock down the Brew and get some possible kills.
Yeah, Brew's still a really tough kill no matter how I look at it, so even if you land that Disruption Crush, you have to get a lot of auto attacks in order to kill him. And I think DC are probably aware of that as well, so I wouldn't be surprised if Demon and Bulba do a lot more roaming into the side lanes, because the Puck is a relatively easier kill. Obviously if the Puck uses the orb somehow, and then in the bot lane, I think, or in the lane with the Morphling, there's a lot of free kills for DC as well.
DC, they're coming over as 5, smoked up. See if they're able to find anybody. The only one close to them right now is Night Stalker, but they come more towards bottom, and they are looking at possibly going in on Ritsu, but they turn the corner.
Are they walking through here?
Head over mid.
Holy smokes. Smoke's gonna break. No. Flea left his post.
Oh, Ryoya.
Someone's gonna die here.
Yeah, Brew looking like he's gonna be in a lot of trouble. There it is, Disruption, Slithering Crush, damage thrown the way of Ryoya, and that is first blood again for DC. Mason picking it up, and right away, Luna having an early advantage.
Now we get
I mean, Francis left his position on the high ground there, but at the same time, you don't exactly expect the entire team to smoke through there. And Qualifier.
Might be a return kill for the side of VGJ.Storm, and they do get it. Death Prophet all alone, and that's a bit of an issue.
Yep, he gets the TP somewhere.
Free TP.
Hello? Alright,
not.
safe lane Death Prophet.
Yeah, that's what it's looking like.
Saving his
Mason in
TP.
the off lane, and MSS mid on the Sand King, apparently.
Ritsu's a really easy kill right now if they get the disruption. He has the attribute shift instead of waveform, so I mean they might not kill him, but they'll be able to put him in a really low health position.
He's got 7 tangos for himself right now, but only 420 health. He really can't come out to farm at all.
At the same time, Top's going to be able to pressure this Death Prophet a lot. I wonder if Qualifier saved his TP because he's expecting to die here. A little bit of a TP shuffle going to bottom lane with Disruptor.
They don't have Glimpse, but that is to try and deter DC from going in. I'd still say even with the Disruptor here, Disruption into a Slithering Crush, it could be an easy kill still for DC, and they're actually not going to look at Ritsu. They'll look at the Disruptor. There's the Slithering Crush with the Disruption. There's an easy kill. Bulba getting a little bit low. Ritsu, you can't really fight into this with just 460 health. And now it's just Morphling again.
Yep. Disruptor doesn't have his TP as well. Night Stalker comes down as well, but I think this is too late for VGJ.Storm. I think in order for VGJ.Storm to do anything in this lane, they had to do it at level 1. And now DC, they have level 2s on all of their heroes in this bot lane, so they're a lot stronger than this Morphling tri lane. So I think DC are probably going to try to pick up an extra kill or 2 here. And I'm wondering if DC did this lane setup to have their Death Prophet against the Puck, because perhaps Puck would have had a better time against the Sand King, whereas I think Sand King does perfectly fine against the Brewmaster, or at least the Sand King will get enough out of the lane.
MSS was close to dying a little bit earlier in the laning phase, but MSS, now that he's got level 2 in Caustic Finale, Ryoya can't exactly just stand there with him, and MSS cleaning up on the CS, keeping pace with Ryoya at 13-2 against the 14-4. None of these heroes in the bottom lane can really come too close, and DC, this is lane dominance from them once more.
Slaughter's a lot better at contesting bounty runes as well, so DC is going to slowly overtake VGJ.Storm in this laning phase, I think.
Take a look. Ryoya hit by that Burrow Strike. Caustic Finale is starting to tick onto this Brewmaster, down at 85 health, taking a bunch of tower shots as MSS. Has
Bulba?
the Tango available, but now coming in is Bulba with the Slithering Crush. They'll get the kill on the Brewmaster, and Bulba, again, always involved.
Excellent rotation from Bulba. I don't think Brewmaster was quite expecting a Fishman walking behind his tower. But that Caustic Finale is proving to be extremely problematic for Ryoya.
So now you've got Luna level 2, just about level 3, to have the Lucent Beam for even more lockdown for the side of DC in this tri-lane when Swordar gets back. Disruption, Slithering Crush, Lucent Beam. How do you even run away from that? And Ritsu, he does have Waveform level 2, but other than that, any other hero I feel like is in trouble. Bulba does get that Invis rune, so he's coming over towards bottom. Lucent Beam already thrown out Ritsu. They are looking for the Disruption, but they might just go in on Flea. There it is. The Disruption comes through. Bulba with the Invis rune gets the Slithering Crush for the body blocks on Flea. Not going to get it just yet. The Thunderstrike on Bulba. He's got to run away, and the Waveform, Ritsu gets himself a kill, and DC there kind of a bit too far out. Demon looking like he's going to drop one more shot. Stand King with the Thunderstrike. and they end up getting 2 kills on a little bit of an over-aggressive play from DC.
I think they were expecting Mason to help them out there, but Mason was busy bopping creeps in top lane. Quickfoot in a bit of trouble. Has no Spirit Siphon.
Drop as well as Fleas come over. Snake King gets the kill, 4-3 in favor of VGJ.Storm, and what I said a moment ago was lane dominance for DC. It's kind of turned around in both the top and bottom lane.
Yeah, VGJ.Storm, they have a really slight lead, and actually Ritz is getting a lot more out of this lane than I expected. I think part of that is that Bulba's been moving around quite a bit, so not really able to pressure this this bottom lane as much.
Bola going in very deep again, harass Stan King. Got MSS making his way over. He's level 6 already. He's going to land that Burrow Strike, charge up the epicenter, and Ritsu surviving for now, but MSS finally gets the kill. You take a look over at Stan King. They've cleaned up 1. They're looking for 2. Burrow Strike's going to land. 1 more shot. Double kill for MSS. And mid Stan King is a thing, apparently.
I mean, it worked out for them because he was laning against the Brewmaster, and I think the timing of this push is obviously very planned because they have the stage creep in the bottom lane to pressure this bottom tier 1.
So Demon disruption coming through. That's going to be onto the Morphling again. Ritsu in a lot of trouble once more. Waveform, Lucent Beam comes out. Can they even get this kill? Ritsu still alive, morphing into that strength, trying to keep himself up. Mason's going to drop. Ryoya is here with the Primal Split. Now Mason, or MSS, is going to be the one in trouble. He's trying to run away. Burrow Strike trying to get to the low ground, but doesn't make it. And he is killed off as Ryoya with a double kill. Ritsu with 1. They clean up 3 heroes on the side of DC, but still lose that bottom tier 1.
I mean, obviously those stats aren't ideal from DC at the end, but they got what they wanted. They got that bottom tier 1, which allows them to pressure Ritsu and pressure the enemy jungle a lot more effectively.
So 7-5 in favor of VGJ.Storm. They see Flea nearby, and they've moved Mason to the top lane. And Qualifier is now back over mid.
So the curious thing for DC then is, so MSS is going to plant himself in this bottom lane and probably farm up his Blink next. So until then, DC are kind of in a weird spot because Quakefa and Mason didn't really get the start that they wanted. I mean, Mason's second highest net worth, but Mason doesn't exactly have levels, right? He's level 4, almost level 5 at 7 minutes, so he doesn't have that Eclipse. So normally at this point in time, you know, Lunas are super scary, perhaps level 6 or 7, able to make rotations with that Eclipse. But until then, you know, Mason's just looking for a place to get farm, and instead MSS will leave the bottom lane with Bulba smoked up towards the mid lane. Quakefa does have that Exorcism available. No silence though, and
there's the glimpse back into the kinetic field. Exorcism going to be used. You got the rest of the DC team coming in. Southern Crush is going to land on 3. Burrow Strike on to this Disruptor, trying to start up that epicenter, but the Waning Rift is there to silence him up. Spirit Siphon out on Snake King. They'll clean up at least 1. Now they have the Exorcism to push the lane and the tower. The Glyph is out, and let's see if Ryoya and Snake King want to go back in. Quakefa taking a lot of shots from this tower. Got to be a little bit careful.
up top a little bit of
Oh boy,
crap happening.
Shadow Demon in a bit of trouble. Disruption, Waning Rift. He's going to be killed off by Ryoya. So trying to TP away, not going to be able to make it out. Meanwhile, over top, Mason, he's going to be hit by the Void. Ritsu deep under this tower, but Waveform through the trees. And over to safety.
Yep. Mason hit level 6, so he's going to be in a lot better of a position now, but still... This game's really weird, right? Like, VGJ.Storm, they're down there, they're bottom tier 1, but they're 1k net worth ahead. And then, I think, Ritsu's actually in a position to farm right now because DC, their lineup isn't quite online because of how the laning phase played out for them. I think Quakefa's not nearly as farmed as a mid-death Prophet normally would be because I think he died once or twice top. Oh, Rip Disruptor.
Kill from MSS on the Stan King. Easy pickings.
So I think DC are just going to play it slowly for now. They probably want to pick up 1 or 2 items before they make their next move. And then I think with that, with the amplified damage on Bulba, they're gonna try to go for a quick pick off, take a tier 1, maybe even go for Roshan, because I think for now DC are probably feeling a little bit pressured right now, because I think this Morphling is going to be in a really good position if DC don't take a couple of towers soon.
Dream Coil going to be snapped. Quake in a lot of trouble, starting to run away. There's the Primal Split. Burrow Strike's only going to hit one of these Primal Split brews, and Disruption has stopped that stun, but Quake's still going to drop, so they lose one. The Brewmaster Split still coming on forward. These Bears show no fear. But one kill goes their way, 9-7 in favor of VGJ.Storm, and they get that kill on Quakefa. Nobody really there to help out all too much. These are some short burrow strikes from MSS.
Yeah, but that was a really cool gank from VGJ.Storm. I think the only way Quakefa survives that is if he gets the Spirit Siphons off and then gets disrupted, so he gets his health back, but you know, that disruption pretty much sealed his fate, because Snaking had another round of spells up.
So there's the Exorcism. No Dream Coil to really worry about. MSS is here with Demon, with Mason. They're actually just looking to push as a team, but Ryoya nearby. No Primal Split for over a minute. There's Darkness used. They start to go in. Thunderclap's not going to hit, but the Glimpse on back to the Static Storm, disrupting to keep them alive. They get one with the Eclipse coming out from Mason. They're going to look to get more. MSS with the Epicenter. Can they get themselves a second? Quakefa very low, silenced up, not going to die just yet as he's got himself a double kill. Now 9-9. They actually look over top. Mason coming in. Ritsu. Mason's got to be a little bit careful. Ritsu could go in a little bit deep on this, but he's going to wait for him and look to TP away.
Really nice push from DC there. I think they combined that with the stage creep timing, as well as the fact that Brewmaster didn't have split. So DC need to keep going for fights like that if they want to put themselves in a position to win. Because right now VGJ.Storm, they're slightly ahead in a game where I think DC needed a lead at this point in order to really bully VGJ.Storm out of the lanes. Now Stanking's level 7 on that Disruptor, so there's a lot of potential for VGJ.Storm to make moves right now, especially with that Static Storm available in 25 seconds.
Yeah, luckily Quakefa was safe thanks to Demon disrupting him and keeping him alive through the Static Storm. They had the Eclipse come down from the stars thanks to Mason. They ended up turning that fight around to get themselves 2 kills without losing any. But right now, VGJ.Storm, they're looking for something. 3 men smoked over by this bottom secret shop for the side of the Dire. They haven't found anything yet, but over by the tower is MSS. They're coming all the way around looking for this kill, and it's going to be trouble if he comes a little bit too far out. The smoke's going to be broken. There's Hunter in the Night. They've got themselves the Void. Burrow Strike out on 2. Crippling Fear is going to hit as well as the Thunder Strike. They get him back into Static Storm, looking for the kill. The Primal Split is around the corner. MSS still alive for the time being, trying to stay alive. It's going to be 10 first for DC. And now Stan King, he's going to hit the deck. Brewmaster all by his lonesome self. They still haven't killed off MSS. He's running around as now they're trying to get themselves the Brewmaster out. But here comes Bulba. Slither and Crush hits. And it's going to be a problem as MSS charges up that Epicenter with the Burrow Strike. And it's a gank gone wrong for VGJ.Storm. They lose 3 and get absolutely nothing, in the words of Willy Wonka.
Nothing.
You lose. You get nothing.
I mean, MSS is super tanky right now with the drums, and I think VGJ.Storm are a little bit optimistic going for a gank. I mean, that's a really weird angle for them to take a gank like that, as well as the fact that DC had that tier 1 available to TP to. So really nice counter initiation from DC, but at the same time VGJ.Storm, they didn't have Puck, which I think is kind of their main source of damage aside from the Morphling right now.
Let's take a look at Ritsu. He's been farming up the entire time with the Dragonlance treads available. I think he's going to finish off a Hurricane Pike next.
It's a huge ancient stack from DC. VGJ.Storm just chilling, getting hit by lizards.
what is that, 4 stack here? 1, 2, 3.
It's a 4
4.
stack.
And then the top one is just a 2 stack.
It's actually a super lucky 4 stack too, because there's none of the golems or dragons, so there's no like EHP increasers there. So that should be a lot of easy gold for Luna when she decides to take it.
A lot of gold going the way of Mason, sitting second on the net worth behind Ritsu, looking for a Dragon Lance of his own. As the Mask of Madness ready and level 11, took that first talent in attack speed. Let's take a look.
And with that team fight win in mid, and with the amount of space that Mason has had, he's caught up in levels. He's level 11, matching Ritsu right now.
And Ritsu took 200 health for his Sand King, and then Qualifier not taking anything. On the other side, Ritsu with the 10 agility.
And Ritsu actually hasn't taken his ultimate yet, so apparently this is the new Morphling. You buy a Dragon Lance and you hit towers.
Seems easy enough.
I mean, at this point, the net worth lead that VGJ.Storm is pretty negligible. So both teams are just trying to get as much out of the map as possible. Trying not to take any bad fights, because DC couldn't really initiate until they have this blink on Bulba, which he just picked up. And I think they probably prefer to have a blink on MSS as well, because without those blinks, their lineup doesn't really have the initiation required to fight VGJ.Storm, because, you know, VGJ.Storm's team fight is actually insane if you look at it. Like a Disruptor, Brewmaster, and Pucks. But DC's kind of reliant on bursting one of these big teamfight heroes from VGJ.Storm at the start of every fight.
Actually, over at bottom, there's the Waning Rift, Dream Coil, as well as the Illusory Orb. They don't have the kill just yet. Qualifier standing still with the puck here, and Fleet coming over with the Night Stalker. They've got the Silence with the Crippling Fear, the Void to slow him down, but Bulba's here. Blink, Slithering Crush, Illusory Orb to try and get out, but he's stunned again by MSS. They'll get the kill. Qualifier still in a little bit of trouble as Fleet comes over looking for that Void, but he's not going to find it. He doesn't have the space between him and Qualifier to land it, and there's the Crypt Swarm, gets the kill, and another gank is just going wrong. Turned over on its head, DC. They clean up too, and they counter the aggression coming out from VGJ.Storm.
I mean, VGJ.Storm, they're going for ganks that are a little bit ambitious. I think they don't, like, Night Stalker and Disruptor don't produce a lot of damage between the two of those heroes. So, you know, these ganks are really hard to begin with, and at the same time, DC seems to be prepared to counter initiate every time. Up top.
Blink, Slithering Crush on this Brew. Wow, Bulba taking a lot of damage very quickly, and he's going to hit the deck. Mason trying to run away. Mask of Madness is going to be used. Blink Dagger picked up by MSS. An Adaptive Strike, chunking Bulba.
That's a classic Bulba feed. Kappa. I think Bulba was expecting more of his teammates to TP in there, but unfortunately for him, it was only Mason, so doesn't get to trade kills or get any kills at all.
So a 1,000 net worth lead for the side of, or now 2,000 for the side of VGJ.Storm. Is DC, like, Ritsu's got himself quite a bit of farm. Is this going to be the end-all be-all to DC? Like, is Ritsu going to be able to run all over this game with this Morphling, or do DC have enough push and enough catch to really take care of VGJ.Storm?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, I haven't seen the new Morphling at all, actually, this patch, so I think there's a lot of things for him to be afraid of in this game. The Exorcism, the amp damage, and the Eclipse from Luna. Like, he has to be afraid of both physical and magical damage, and so, you know, that's a really tough position for Morphling to be in, because you don't... If Ritsu gets caught in the wrong place, you know, he gets bursted really easily from the DC lineup. And he's really reliant on his team to sort of frontline for him at the moment.
Let's take a look. Courier coming over, going to be spotted. Wow, that had quite a bit on it. mostly just the Hood of Defiance in terms of net worth dropped from that courier, and it's going to be down for quite some time. No longer going to have the Hood coming their way. Is that really a huge deal for the side of DC to not have that Hood?
Whose Hood was it?
I'm not 100% certain. I looked over it and I just didn't read the name. I just looked it up.
I'm gonna guess that it's that was MSS's because he has a pipe queued up. I just don't know if it still slots in those items into the quick buy if your courier's dead. But I'm pretty sure it was MSS. I mean, it's not a big deal. They just wait a couple minutes and VGJ.Storm.
Quick static storm disruption to save his life once again. There's the glimpse back. MSS with the nice epicenter is going to take out Stan King first. They've got the Dream Coil coming through on a Qualifier, and now he's going to try and run his way out. The Eclipse is going to be used to try and take out this bear. They've got Boulder really deep in. He's going to be silenced up and taken out. So it's a 2-for-1 right now. They start to hit away at Ritsu. I don't know if they exactly have the damage to take him out, but MSS trying to get back to his base. Blink in with the Thunderclap. Ryoya gets the kill, but here's the disruption. But diving deep into their base is VGJ.Storm. They've got 4 kills in the buyback from MSS. They are invading past the tier 2s, in past the tier 3s, and they just don't care.
I wonder if MSS met the buyback there, because it was definitely not the best. I mean, he wasn't in a position to catch VGJ.Storm to begin with, and it's not like Mason can really set up any kills there, so a little bit odd. VGJ.Storm, they get a really great initiation on Qualifier to start that fight. They have this ward that's about to expire over here, which got Vision of the Death Prophet, and then they jumped her, and then DC, they don't really have an answer to VGJ's aggression when they do something like that, because, you know, if the Death Prophet's silenced up, she can't cast her Spirit Siphon, which means she's pretty much always low HP in that engagement. So even if she uses her Yule Scepter on herself, or if she gets banished from Shell Demon, she's always going to get hit from spells from the Brewmaster and Puck. So off of that, I think DC kind of just started bleeding kills.
And now they're down 7,000 net worth, and I think VGJ.Storm are thinking about going in onto Roshan.
Oh. And that's a huge net worth swing off of the back of like a couple of minutes. So I believe that Luna and Death Prophet aren't exactly heroes that come back well from these deficits. So in order for DC to win this game, they can't really farm their way back into this game, because Ritsu and Snaking are going to continue to split push. So in order for DC to win this game, they have to try to take a big team fight or get a really big pick off and go from there, because I think VGJ.Storm are sensing that they're in the winning position, and they're going to continue putting pressure on this Luna so that she can't farm her way back into the game.
See, that courier is back up, and it was Qualifi's Hood.
Yeah, I think that definitely would have saved him. He died by such a small margin, so perhaps it was planned from VGJ.Storm, you know?
Oh, MSS gets hit with the Dream Coil. Now Yule's up, trying to TP out. You've got Flea here. They don't have any detection for the Sandstorm. MSS can use that Burrow Strike now, blinking away with the drums, trying to get out of harm's way, but Flea is here with the Void. Darkness coming through, Waning Rift still opening up quite a bit of space. Not silenced up anymore, but that was his last Burrow Strike, as he doesn't have enough mana using that wand, and I don't know if he's going to be able to make it out. Burrow Strike in 3, and there's the Illusory Orb. They finish him off. And MSS, he does pull 3 heroes over here, but he still loses his life.
Well, I mean, that's a lot of space created for his team. Unfortunately, you know, that puts VGJ.Storm in a position to Roshan, and obviously MSS doesn't have his buyback because he expended it last fight, so there's no way that DC can really contest this. Instead, I think DC are going to be stuck trying to high ground, or try to defend their high ground, but I think VGJ.Storm are actually more than capable of breaking high ground with their heroes. He's just going to put this Aegis on Morphling on Ritsu, and Ritsu's actually pretty farmed, considering how DC intended to aggressive tri lane against them.
So with this Aegis and soon to be Manta style Ritsu, he was man fighting Mason earlier, and they didn't even get close to taking him out. Does DC really have a chance to take him out, or they need to start focusing on the other heroes first, take those heroes out, and then once the possibility is there to get Ritsu by himself, then and only then will they be able to win a fight against him.
I mean, DC's team fight is still more than capable of beating VGJ.Storm. They just have to... I think the most important target for them right now is the Brewmaster. If this Brewmaster gets a split off, then DC can't win the team fight. Oh,
Ritsu, Blink, Slithering Crush, Epicenter, and they take up the first Aegis all by himself. They were able to clean him up. So they take out the Aegis on the back lines of this fight. It's going to be a two-man Dream Coil. Waning Rift's going to hit on 3. They might be able to kill off the Shadow Demon. They get the first one. The Slithering Crush comes through. Mason with the Eclipse. They're going to use that trying to keep Flea alive, but he's going to fall. They've got a lockdown onto Snaking, but he uses that phase shift, trying to blink away. Meanwhile, on the sideline is Ritsu. He got that adaptive strike to hit on Koikfa, and now they've got themselves the primal split with the glimpse back of Mason. He's trying to TP away. The rock comes in. They'll kill off the Death Prophet, or they kill off Mason. Not Koikfa, excuse me. And now they're looking to chase on Koikfa. Illusory Orb over the top. There's the Tornado thrown forward. The primal split is over. Koikfa gonna drop 4 dead on the side of DC. Looks so good and promising for them when they killed off Ritsu, but and the rest of the team joined the fight, and it really turned around on them.
Yep, I mean, Snaking was ready to counter initiate, and he caught the Slaughter and Shadow Demon, so DC weren't really able to run anymore. And then Mason committed his Blink and Bow Strike to kill Ritsu, so MSS couldn't get out either. So it's a very nice counter initiation for VGJ.Storm. Oh, Qualifier disconnected.
So when Ritsu is alone, they do have the ability to take him out pretty quickly.
If you get that silence off, he can't use the attribute shift. So Ritsu's pretty much been farming at under 1,000 HP the entire game. Wow. That efficiency.
I feel like, you know, DC, they are kind of on their heels here at 11,000 net worth behind and high ground possibility coming through from VGJ.Storm, but they do have some good push potential. Like one fight, and all of a sudden, maybe they push high ground and get a set of racks.
I mean, that is true. And also, you know, they have a lot of burst potential. So realistically, the DC win in team fight when they stun a hero, they amp damage, and then suddenly, you know, the Exorcism and Luna just shred through heroes. But, you know, VGJ.Storm have never put themselves in a position where they aren't trading kills, right? They always have one person die, but then they always follow it up by taking out a couple of DC's heroes. And I think part of that is because they have so much catch coming from the Puck, from the Disruptor, and from Ryoya on this Brewmaster. I mean, this Brewmaster's been doing a ton of work in these team fights. Actually, he has the Radiance farmed up now, has a BKB coming up next. So with that BKB, he's going to be very difficult for DC to kill. So at this point, I think VGJ.Storm, they're really comfortable with the position there, and they're going to continue to farm. They're going to use Snaking to keep these to keep the lanes out, and then they're going to farm up a couple of big items. So there's the Eye of Scatty coming on Ritsu, and then the BKB on Ryoya, which should make him pretty much very difficult for DC to kill.
Do you think BKBs on both Death Prophet and Mason really change the outcome of these fights? Like, is that enough for them to really withstand what VGJ.Storm are throwing at them?
It's hard to say. So I think when DC use their BKBs, I think VGJ.Storm's natural reaction is going to be to disengage and try not to lose any heroes and wait out the BKBs, right? And their heroes are very good at that. Like Morphling, Brewmaster, Puck, they're all extremely mobile in these fights. So, I mean, Brewmaster's just going to ulti out. So I think the BKBs aren't going to change the outcome per se. It's just going to help DC win the ideal team fight for them, which is to just pile up on top of the Brewmaster or the Morphling without dying too quickly.
So 4-man smoke from the side of VGJ.Storm. Over bottom is both Mason and Demon, but they've TP'd back to their base. The silence comes through on MSS. You've got a couple of heroes ready to follow this up. If they could get a glimpse into a static storm, MSS is going to be dead. He's really got to watch himself, and there's the glimpse. It's actually not pulling him back into the kinetic field. So that's kinetic field and Thunderstrike down for a moment. They'll be off cooldown in just a moment.
Maybe VGJ.Storm. Pretty chill at the moment. Probably waiting out for Roshan for their items. DC can't exactly outfarm VGJ.Storm at the moment. You see VGJ.Storm have pretty much all of the DC side of the map under their control. And DC are forced to just move around this 5.
Some decent warding out from VGJ.Storm as well. Meanwhile, over top, Snake King going to start to take this tier 3. Creep equilibrium over bottoms in favor of DC if they maybe want to make the move to try and trade in terms of towers and racks. They don't have boots of travel on either of their big-time pushers.
Classic Shadow Demon Luna. The Demon's only level 10, so probably won't be seeing that 1.5 second Shadow Poison cooldown reduction anytime soon. Or the plus 5 second Disrupt and Banish duration. That's actually super good for his team actually, because if you put that on Qualifier, he waits out the entire Static Storm.
Get that man Tomes of Knowledge, get that man levels. He's now level 11. Keep pushing him forward. I'm surprised. No, he took the 10. He took the 10 strength.
I wonder if Morphling can attribute shift while being disrupted, because if you can't, then theoretically Shadow Demon can one-shot your Morphling. If Morphling like starts with low HP.
What's interesting is Shadow Demon took the 10 strength, not the 25% XP gain.
You can't not take the 10 strength in a game like this. It's so much health for him, and you know, if he doesn't have that extra health, he gets one-shotted by snaking every fight. Oh, Balba.
Take a look. Darkness is going to be used. They find themselves a nice disruptor kill. Mason's going to get credit for that one, and he does have that BKB finish, and he's working in on level 20, which I assume is going to be the plus 10 to all stats. Let's take a look bottom. They've actually got 3 heroes coming over with Quakefoot, Bulba, and MSS. The heroes that were down here for the side of VGJ.Storm have already TP'd away, so it's just Quakefoot. Nobody from the side of VGJ.Storm.
Wait, I figured out DC's win condition. So you take the Lucent Beam mini stun. Yeah, you buy an Ags on Mason, right? And then when Brewmaster's BKB is on cooldown, you perma-stun him with the Ags Eclipse, so that he can't split. And you just see Brewmaster in like a permanent cycle of trying to get his ulti off. It'll be great.
So that was Aegis and Cheese on the last one, right?
Yeah, it was. And then the refresher shard is going to be the next one.
So Mason, Ags, possibility next. Ags, refresher, refresher shard.
Get the triple.
If we get that far. I feel like at this moment when you have refresher shard a possibility, it's not a bad choice for him to go Ags.
Wait, has that second Roche even been killed yet?
I thought it was the second Roche. I thought that was Cheese. That's what I asked, if it was Cheese on the last one.
How many Roshans have died?
I think 2.
Interesting.
Unless I'm mixing up both these games so far. But we'll find out in just a moment.
I feel like... Anyway, so like VGJ.Storm, they have the BKB on Brewmaster now. They're in a really nice position. And Roshan will respawn in 1 minute, so I think that's going to be a really big fighting point for both teams.
Yeah,
Mason's got his BKB. Quakefoot, I believe, has his BKB coming to him on his courier.
Take a look over mid. Puck might be in a little bit of trouble. There's the Yules. Burrow Strike not going to hit. Phase Shift going to keep him alive, but Snake King actually doesn't get out, and they'll be able to kill him off. So, big time pickoff for the side of DC. Dead for 80 seconds. Meanwhile, they're going to get Stand King again. Static Storm even used. It's Roshan 23 seconds, too.
pretty critical pickoff from DC. Unfortunately, they have 2 of their lanes pushing in really hard. And Roshan is going to respawn in 11 seconds. Hopefully DC scout that out, because I think they can sneak it in before the puck respawns. And at the same time, they also have to recognize that Ritsu's in this top lane ready to hit this tier 3.
So it was just one Roche, because that's Aegis and Fuse. So
I knew it. I thought I was crazy.
I thought I was crazy for thinking it was 2. I just wasn't sure.
I thought I somehow like fell asleep in the middle of the game, but yeah, this is the second Roche. And then
It's a quick Roche.
it's really quick. I mean, Morphling can't new Morphling can't split push because he can't replicate out, so unfortunately for him this patch, not actually able to trade anything at all for that Roche. So DC, they have the Aegis, still 10k net worth behind, but as we saw with those 2 pickoffs mid, I think DC are more than capable of going for pickoffs.
And they're starting to look a little bit more confident. They've got these BKBs. I mean, Mason's farming like a madman. He almost has a full butterfly ready as well. And then you take a look over at Qualifier, who's finished his BKB up. He has this casual vitality booster as well.
I mean, this Death Prophet and the Luna are extremely hard to kill, especially the Morphling didn't go for like an E-Blade, right? He went for the Manta Pike Scotty, so he didn't really get his E-Blade, and even if he does get one, there's a BKB on Luna. I imagine if he had that E-Blade, or if this was like the old Morphling, you would get that E-Blade a little bit earlier because you have that escape mechanism, right? And then he could have went for kills on Mason, but instead, going for a lot of these stat items, which isn't bad. It's just I think this is like the way that Morphling has to be played now. He's like he's pretty much primarily a right clicker, right? And so DC, now that they have these BKBs, a lot of the threats that were originally there, like Static Storm, Puck, Magic Damage, silences from Night Stalker, those threats are no longer there. So DC are a lot more confident leaving their base. And I think as soon as Qualifier picks up like an armor item like a Shiva's, or perhaps even a Straight Heart, you know, DC can just barrel down these lanes.
So they've got the top push from Puck and Morphling, but I don't know if you noticed it, Ryoya did use that BKB, so it's on cooldown for 40 seconds.
Oh. I think that BKB being on cooldown is going to be super big. Quakefuzz got his ultimate in 24 seconds, but I think DC have no problems just pushing this tower with Luna illusions.
Who? I mean, it's got to be DC, right? Who pushes faster right now?
I mean, a full agility Morphling is gonna melt through like 2 or 3 Raxes, or 1 or 2 Raxes, like in a hurry. And DC can only get 1 Rax out of this because there's a mid-tier 1. So, you know, Brewmaster's using a split to kind of stall for time here. Hello? Pauses?
Excuse me? Can't move your heroes?
Packet loss.
Knock on wood, I no longer have lag problems.
God bless. I mean, Mason is... I want to say he's okay here. Like, he turns around, maybe pikes himself against one of the Brewmaster illusions, and then if needed, Demon can disrupt him. But I think the biggest problem right now is that oh, never mind.
Mason using that BKB.
Turn and burn.
Yeah, they're just starting to turn on this tier 3 tower. Let's take a look over top for just a moment. He's taking the tier 3 over top. Static Storm comes out. 3-man Dream Coil following that up. So they look to be in a little bit of trouble. Mason's going to get his life save thanks to Demon. He still has that Aegis. They'll take a tier 3 of their own. This epicenter is really just a zoning epicenter. Doesn't really find anything. The Exorcism is going to come out as well as the Eclipse. They'll take out the Night Stalker. They've lost their set of racks over top. So you got to be aware as this base is getting melted by the Morphling. He's starting to go in. He's taking himself the mid-tier 3 as well as the tier 3 racks. They only get 1 set of racks, and now they're trying to escape. Demon going to get hit up by Ryoya. He's going to drop that gem on the table. Ryoya still a little bit low. He pops that BKB just in time to avoid this Burrow Strike coming in from MSS, but one more shot, he's going to end up going down. And now Qualifier still with this Exorcism starts to work over on the Puck. They've lost their mid set of racks and the top set of racks. E-Blade picked up by the Morphling, and now the chase might be on by Snaking. Goes deep in enemy lines with Qualifier and MSS here. But it's a big-time trade between both these teams. Morphling shreds this base.
So, yeah, obviously you shredded through those 2 racks. It's not the ideal situation from DC, but DC actually have put themselves in a position where they can win now. I mean, I say that because it looks like they were going to lose for the most of the game. So now Qualifier has picked up a full Octarine core, super farmed, right? And same with the Luna. So, you know, if DC put themselves in a position to push again, I think they can actually win the game. So VGJ.Storm, they have to continue to keep their lanes out and continue to look out for good teamfight opportunities, because you know DC is going to be looking to seal up the game with his Aegis.
Both sides, Blink, Slither, Crush is going to come in. Mason on the back lines. He's going to try and get himself the kill on the Disruptor. He gets 1, but Ritsu's already cleaned up Bulba. Bulba's going to be killed off first, and now Quickfa's got the Spirit Siphon on Ritsu. Ritsu trying to run away. Mason's still coming in, getting blocked in by his own illusions. The waveform's going to be out, but it's not going to be enough to break that Spirit Siphon just yet. The Blink with the Burrow Strike. They're going to go charge up the Epicenter. He's going to be silenced up. The Dream Coil comes in on 4 of these heroes, but it's not enough to save Ritsu just yet. And they're also going to get the Primal Split coming through. I think they still have the puck nearby. Snake King starting to hit away, and the Yule is going to be used by this Death Prophet. It's actually going to be the Cyclone that keeps him locked in. He's still trying to run away. BKB popped by Mason. MSS getting a little bit low, and now the Brewmaster is going to be in a lot of trouble. They finally take out the Sand King. Qualifier getting shredded by Ritsu, but there's the disruption. It's going to keep their carry alive. Brewmaster just making it out, and he's now back to full health. You take a look over at Demon. He's looking like he's dead, but now Flu's going to be the first one to drop. They take a look over at Ritsu, who's going to waveform out, and they're still moving forward. They're looking for this Morphling. Morphling used this buyback, so he'd be in a little bit of trouble. If he dies, it could be the end of the game. They're still looking for more. Mason, Ritsu, they're starting to trade. You take a look over towards the top end of this fight. Qualifia's back alive. He's got himself that Exorcism. They look towards Ryoya. There's the Burrow Strike. It's going to hit on this Brewmaster. Silenced up as well. They're still putting the chase on Bolt. Back into the fight. Blink, so they're in Crush Corrosive Haze. They'll take him out. And now, on the retreat is VGJ.Storm as DC. They've kind of pulled themselves back into this game.
I mean, they definitely did. Oh, Snaking.
Ooh, Snake.
Nah, they're gonna get this 2-2, and I reckon they're gonna try
looking for it. First step, Slithering Crush, Silence on 2. Follow that up with the Lucent Beam. Burrow Strike comes out from MSS. This puck's gonna be in a lot of trouble. The Eagles try and keep himself alive. They start shredding this tier 3 over top. The buyback's gonna be there from the Brewmaster. The BKB used by Qualifier coming in with the E-Blade. Shredded and destroyed is Mason by Ritsu. They're looking for more. They're looking for Qualifier. You gotta remember that Ritsu bought back, but it's no more damage with Mason on the sidelines. They'll take Qualifier out as well. Gem on the table, and DC, they take out the tier 3 over top, but they lose 2 of their top cores.
It looked really good for DC there, and granted, VGJ.Storm, they had to use a lot of big buybacks to put themselves back in that position. So DC, they saw a buyout on both the Luna and the Death Prophet if needed. I imagine they will have to expend that, and they also don't have Exorcism for another 30 seconds. So, you know, VGJ.Storm, they can probably try to take Mega Creeps here, and I imagine there's not actually much that DC can do to stop this from happening.
I think Death Prophet is trying to hold on to that buyback. Buys a Tome and Knowledge, I think looking to get that level 25. Is it going to be Exorcism, Haste, or Spirits? I would assume Spirits, right?
It's hard to say. I think the Spirits is almost always better, but this game...
Blink, Slithering, Crush, Snaking in a lot of trouble, but Ryoya's going to come in with the Thunder Cup. He's going to Primal Split. Still alive right now is the Puck Phase Shift to keep himself out and about, but they're looking like they're going to take the Brewmaster, and he actually doesn't fall just yet. They'll lose Bulba. Cycloned up is going to be this Shadow Demon. Ritsu looking to get a kill, and this should be easy pickings, as Demon very low, but very dead.
Yeah, Snaking, the master of the debate. So, VGJ.Storm looked like they're in a position to high ground. I mean, they didn't high ground before because they're still really worried about losing their heroes without buyout.
They don't have BKB for another 35 seconds. It's going to be a 4-step forward. Oh my god, Mason destroyed. That's going to be 113 seconds on the sideline. Qualifier, he's going to be in a lot of trouble too. He's forced to use that BKB. He's trying to get away. He's got that Exorcism. He's killed up. They no longer have the Exorcism. There is the Static Storm DC. It looks so promising, but VGJ.Storm push full steam ahead. Triple kill from Ritsu and win the game. GG, we're going to a game 3.
I mean, Ritsu definitely, or not just Ritsu, but like VGJ.Storm, they definitely won the game by setting up their, or putting both the Morphling and the Brewmaster in a position to to really dominate this game. And I think part of that is that DC, it feels like they messed up their laning situation. I mean, they aggressively tri-laned the Morphling, but they didn't really fully commit to it, right? Like, Bobo's running around. Sure, you got a kill on Brewmaster, but Ritsu still got plenty of farm in that bottom lane, and most importantly, Ritsu got levels, which put him in a position to split push for the entire game, where I think in an alternate scenario, Ritsu gets completely shut down, Mason gets more out of the lane, and then DC just plow down towers with both Exorcism and Luna. But instead, VGJ.Storm, they came out of the laning phase intact, and then they just managed to out-farm and out-team fight DC the entire game.
Yeah, for a split second, it looked as though DC were going to pull it back. They killed off Ritsu again. He was down to about half health. Almost dies. That would have been it. It would have been a 2-0 series, but he survives. Then they go a little bit too far on DC over top onto the VGJ.Storm base. They end up losing 2 big cores, force the buyback from Mason, and then they slowly take it and win the game. So VGJ.Storm, they look pretty good in this game, too. That Morphling pick, huge on Ritsu, 15-2-8. They're going to be looking towards this game 3. Winner qualifies, loser goes home. And we'll be back with that in just a moment. I'm your caster, B-Cop, joined here by Franz. I'm at B-Cop92 on Twitter, and he is at Hello Franz on Twitter. I almost said I'm at Hello B-Cop, and I almost got them both mixed up. But we'll be back in just a moment. Game 3 soon enough. And it will be one apiece.